Hello everyone and welcome to the 5th episode of my hardcore Let's Play series. So we're gonna go back to the board here and look what we have to do for today's episode. Now I was thinking of tackling this, the tool slash weapon slash armor slash mason smith area. And if you saw the last episode, you know that the area over there is outlined in different wool colors that relate to the different signs of the board. Back behind the farmhouse that I built 2 episodes ago, we have the area with yellow wool and the area with orange wool. And since I'm tackling the orange wool today, I want to explain sort of what I'm trying to do with this area. So eventually my goal is to transport a lot of villagers into this area that will be weaponsmiths, toolsmiths, armorsmiths, and so on. And the idea I have is that each specific building will hold a certain type of villager. And then maybe if I need extra villagers, I'll just kind of put them in a box that's below the building that's related to the type of villager. I put these chests over here so I could, 1, completely empty my inventory because it is a mess, and 2, so I could clear out different areas and take all the dirt and be able to store it somewhere and not have it fill my entire inventory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and plan out the areas for where I want different things to be so that I have a starting ground for where everything is supposed to go and the ideas that I want to build. So for the first building, this is going to combine the weapon and toolsmiths as they are very similar with what they trade and it makes sense to put them together. I also wanted to use the cave, and the idea for that is just to display the different trade items. Then moving on to the other 2 buildings, they are going to be used for the armorsmith and the mason villagers. And the last building, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be used for. Maybe for storage. I might end up replacing it with something else later on though. Alright, the buildings have been planned out. Now there's not very many buildings, mainly because I'm not sure exactly how many I'm going to need right now. I have an idea in my head of what I want things to be, but I'm not 100% sure. So I think this many buildings will be good enough for now. Now as for what I want the buildings to look like, I want it to be a little bit different than my farmhouse. I don't want everything here to look the same in terms of how the blocks are used. I'm not saying I'm not going to use the same type of blocks, but I just want them in a different pattern or a different style per each area. And what I was thinking is using some spruce for the outside pillars, and then maybe going something like this, having them all kind of spread out, and then do this on basically every single corner for all of these buildings. So now that all the pillars are in place, it is time to start on the walls. Now there might be a problem with a building like this because I have plans to add second stories to pretty much all of these buildings, and with a building like this, it might be too close to this one. I'm not exactly sure, so I might have to change the location of this building, but that's a problem for like future me. Right now, I want to start detailing these walls to make them look a little bit better than just cobblestone. So the idea I have is to start off with a layer of tuff on the bottom, and then tuff will go up a little bit, but then it will turn into stone, and then we'll turn to stone brick. And I'm basically just going to do this pretty much everywhere on every single one of these buildings because that's the sort of theme I want to go with. And then maybe for the roof, we can go with like a deep slate, but that's a problem for future me again. I'm thinking too far ahead. The bottom of the houses are all filled in now, except for this one because I'm gonna leave this for now and maybe turn it into something else because I don't think it's gonna fit with all the rest of the buildings here. But I am gonna have to go to sleep real quick, and in the morning I want to focus on the top floor, which is where like you're gonna have a bunch of windows and everything cool is going to be, but the bottom floor is where all the function is. Oh, I end up completely forgetting about this side. That is embarrassing. So I might as well start with this building. The floor is going to be just a bunch of spruce slabs because I have those laying around and they're pretty inexpensive and they do fit the theme of the build very nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up another 6 blocks. So you see these little things sticking out? Yeah, each of them is going to have 6 more of these spruce logs on top of it. But before I get to adding all of these to those, I want to add a little bit of detail outside because I want to get the idea of what I want this to look like. So I'm thinking something like this with some stairs and then trap doors to go across. And I also have these cobblestone walls. I think they would look great on the outside of these pillars. Or actually, how about one in? Yeah, honestly, I do like that. I think that looks good. We can sort of keep a theme like this and then have like big windows in each one of these spaces with a roof on top. I think that'll look good. I'm going to continue adding the pillars to these houses, but I do need some more spruce logs, so I'll have to head back home and grab them. All the pillars have been added in, and I had to go get some more spruce logs because I didn't have enough in my house, but I also started adding some of the outside trim, and I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do for areas like this that are extremely long in in between pillars, because for something like this, it's pretty easy. You know, I can put a stair here, maybe like a slab on a trapdoor, and then still have the same design I want with the walls going on the sides. But then for something like this, it's kind of weird where there's only a 2-block space in between, so I'm like, how is it gonna work? So I guess it's going to be a lot of trial and error. Now, I did want to try out something to see how this would look. So instead of cobblestone, how does some polished deep slate walls look? Because the cobblestone really blends in too much with this, and I feel like they're sort of like the same color, and maybe having something darker would look a little bit better. And honestly, I do like the look of that. I like the darkness. So I think I'm going to replace all of these with some deep slate walls after I go to sleep, of course, because it is nighttime. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. And I do also want to add some lights. So what if I was to add just one wall and a lantern in between? Maybe I could do this every now and then, because since I have some really weird spaces, maybe I could just add like a space in between with another wall attached to it with a lantern underneath. And there is a wandering trader right here. What do you have to trade, buddy? Nothing really that useful. Maybe the jungle sapling, because I don't know where a jungle is, but I do want to do an episode where I just go ahead and explore, so you're gonna have to die. Sorry about this, buddy. Where'd you go? There's no sprinting. There's no running away from me. And I will definitely take these leads, and I'm also gonna kill the llamas because I want the leather. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. All right, let's try to figure this out and make it look good if I can place stairs correctly. So what if I was to add one wall on this side, and then something like this, and then the lantern right there, and then on this wall it can be sort of normal where it connects to this instead? Yeah, I actually like that. I think that looks okay. Even though it's only one wall here and two there, it looks like it fits because all these buildings were sort of weird shapes, so it would make sense that the walls on the outside would sort of be weird with it. And maybe in this space I can just put a slab, actually maybe one higher, or actually I'll just put a stair but facing this way instead, and then I'll go with the same deep slate walls at the top, and then under here it's going to just be the same upside down stairs, and then maybe a little bit of trapdoor action underneath, and then I can put a lantern, which I don't have any more lanterns. I have to grab some and put one right at the top. Actually, no, this kind of looks weird just sticking out from the top, so I'm just gonna leave this for now. I might figure out something to put here, but I'm just gonna add these walls all the way around. All right, there we go. All the walls are in place, and I want to tackle this area here. So maybe we can go with some slabs on the outside, like 2 of them, and then we could add a trap door, and then maybe go with like 3 trap doors, or maybe we could do something where we alternate between them. So we could have like a slab, and then we have a trap door, and then we have another slab, and then we have like 3, and maybe make these full blocks, and then have some of the deep slate walls hang from that. And then we can go with the same type of thing I did on the other side and have these there, and then lanterns hanging below it. I'm pretty sure I have some iron in here. Yes, I do. And some torches. We got some torches in here as well, and some more iron. Okay, so I can make myself some more lanterns real quick, and then add these to here. And then we can continue on this side, adding another trap door. And then on this side, we can just go with some slabs and the trap door right there. And then for this awkward area, we could have that going across, and this, and then a lantern. Actually, how would it look to have this entire thing be covered? I don't know. I feel like I would need something here. So I'm just gonna leave this for now, just like that. And for this part, it can be same thing like that, and we could have these going all the way down. So I think I know what to do for these buildings. So I'm gonna finish this part up and the last building, and with this I think I'm gonna tear this down and just make like a courtyard area, maybe with like a carriage type thing, maybe something that holds like ores or iron blocks or something that like the weaponsmiths and toolsmiths would use. All of the pillars and lanterns are added in place except for these ones because I always forget something. All right, there we go. Now everything's in place. And now for the second floor. And I am thinking for the second floor, I'm going to use oak wood. And right now I only have 1 oak plank, which is unfortunate, but lucky there's a bunch of oak this way. So I'm going to go and collect a ton of that, probably a good couple stacks, because I'm gonna need a decent amount of it. All right, I think this is enough wood, and I'm also all out of food. I guess I'm gonna have to eat these 2 apples I got from chopping these trees. So I made a staircase up to the second floor and I realized I didn't finish adding in the slabs, so I'm gonna have to add a couple of these just so I actually have a place to stand on when I'm building the walls. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. I think the first space I'm going to build is right here, and the idea I have is to use some oak planks and also some stripped oak logs and sort of go with a random pattern with the stripped oak logs. So as you can see, kind of something like this, and I'm not sure if this should be too thick or if it should be one thick. So this is what one thick looks like, and I think that's way too big for a window, so yeah, definitely it is going to be too thick. But now that I look at it on this side, it looks too small. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. Oh, we got these guys. Come on guys, like really, like why do you have to do this? Like, I'm trying to build here and you guys are just getting in my way. And you, I don't want to get any bad omens, so I'm just gonna put you in a giant hole here and cover you up if you don't mind. There we go. You can enjoy your time down there. So I was thinking of maybe putting some blocks in the corner, and I think that actually makes the window look correct, because having it be 2 blocks makes it look too skinny, and having it be 1 block makes it look too wide. But out here you can see, I think it looks just about right. And this won't be for every single window, just for some of the big spaces like this. And I think it also adds a little bit of variety. I can also start on this little one, which I'm not sure if this is gonna be a window or a wall. Okay, I think something like this looks good. And we got another wandering trader. What do you have? Nothing really useful. So you are also going to be sent to the Shadow Realm, and also your llamas are going there too. And now for this corner, I think I'm gonna go with sort of a similar thing I did over there and have just a slit window. And this one is just going to be a wall, because there's no point in putting a window here because you're just gonna look at a wooden pillar, and I don't think anybody wants to look at that. Although in real life, there is some houses that have windows like this, like especially in big cities where they just look at nothing and they're kind of useless. So I mean, it wouldn't completely be out of place. And for this window, I think we can just go with a regular box shape, because it's not too big like this one. Okay, this building's starting to look pretty good. I did cover this side up because I didn't feel like a window would look great there. But if we come back to this side, it's looking good. And on this side, it's also looking good. And we got the wall over here, but there is this big space. Now, if I had another pillar in between, like maybe right here, it would make sense because I could have this be like sort of like a small window here, and then maybe like just a wall on this side. So I think I actually might do that. I'm gonna get rid of this wall here and then put in some spruce logs. And I tried to water bucket clutch, but if you do that on slabs, it places the water on the other side for some reason. But now since this is in place, I can finally add a window to this side. And I decided to go with a more diamond shape, sort of like this window, because I feel like we need 2 of them. And then this one over here is just going to be a regular wall, because I do want some space to maybe add storage and chests if I need to. And having windows all around makes it really hard to add things up a wall, or maybe chests to have stacked high, because it would just cover the window. Also have some glass panes, so I'll put these in. Now I just gotta do this same style on the other 2 houses. And I also need an area to put a ladder or a staircase, because I have no way of getting down now. When finishing the walls on the other 2 buildings, I decided to continue with the same style, making sure to add some diamond windows and regular windows, and continuing with a mix of the stripped oak and oak planks. I also made sure to fill in every window with some glass panes. So I did get a little bit carried away with some work off camera. I was just trying to figure out what I want to do for the roof, because building roofs are like kryptonite for me. Like, I'm terrible at it. So I was just kind of building and I completely forgot to press record, but I did only create a roof for one of the buildings because I just wanted to get a design down for what I wanted, and I settled on a birch trim and some deep slate cobbled stairs for the middle portion. And I decided to start with this house because this is like the weird looking house. It has like a really flat wall on this side, and I feel like if I can get this one down, then I can get all the rest of them down. And this one turned out all right. I'm not a big fan of this back portion here, but there's nothing really I can do to change that. I might maybe add some details on the back of this, like some leaves hanging or other things to make it not look so plain and flat. But on the other sides, everything looks okay. It doesn't look as flat. It looks really good. Just that one side's kind of awkward. I did add a ladder to go up, but I think I'm going to change it with a staircase in one of these corners. Maybe over here would be a great spot for a staircase. But on the interior, you can see there's just a bunch of deep slate, and I also left this area open for a window, which I got some more glass pane, so I'm going to fill that in. And for the roof, I think I'm going to cut it off right about here because I don't have any plans to use this space up there, but I guess it'll be there just in case maybe I want to use it later down the line. And I'm thinking we're just going to go with the same sort of spruce slab design that I did for the floor and then just continue this all the way along. But I'm not going to tackle this right now. I'm going to go and finish the other two roofs, and I think a time lapse would be perfect for doing that. As you can see, I did struggle a bit with the shape of the roofs since these buildings are not just one big square, so the roof will always be kind of awkward. But if any of you have any tips for roof building or any rules you follow, I am all ears, so please tell me in the comments below. I am just finishing up the last little bit of the roof here, just adding in some spruce at the top. I also add a little bit of a trim here at the bottom, just so I can keep things a little bit separate, because if I have this up here, it makes everything look a little bit flat. I'll have to do it for this side as well, and maybe this side. I have to do it all the way around. But I did experiment with the floor, and I think diorite will be the floor for these buildings, because everything in here is really dark, so I think having a very light floor just works well. And there's a skeleton shooting at me. There's two skeletons shooting at me. So I'm just gonna add all of these into the bottom, get rid of all this dirt that nobody likes to look at. There we go. Second house is finished, and on to the last one. Now that the floors are done, it is time to tackle this little cave here. And I'm thinking I'm just going to remove some of these blocks and replace them with some stone, just to keep the general shape of this cave, and then fill it in the back. And also, I think I'm going to lower it a little bit because it is a bit too high for my liking. All right, so this is the basic shape of the cave. I'm going to leave it like this for now. There's going to be some texturing added to it later on, but I want to do that for the detailing portion of this video. I cleared out this area because I'm going to put a courtyard here with some stuff in it and not a building, but I need to create a layout for how I want things to work, because right now just going down a bunch of random blocks just doesn't look good. So I'm just going to use a bunch of dirt for now, just to lay out sort of what level I want everything to be at. So I'm thinking something like this, and then it'll make a right angle and just turn completely into this road. And then maybe we could have just a cobblestone wall going all the way down to this level and have it be the same all the way around to maybe here. We could have the cobblestone go all the way to here as well. And this whole area will be sort of like a courtyard where they'll store stuff. Actually, I'm going to extend this out one more because I want it to be 3 wide. And then the road will extend up this way and then go around. I don't have to do any terraforming for this because there's already an open space. And then the road will continue up this way eventually to go to the library portion. But for now, I think I'm just going to make it, and it's going to end right at this cave. For this wall, I want to use mossy cobblestone and just some regular cobblestone because I haven't used cobblestone in this build yet. And I think an area like this, especially since it's near the water, so maybe it gets hit by a bunch of wind and rain and all of that, it would sort of get eroded. So we'll have like an eroded wall, and then maybe put some glow lichen on it for lighting. And then I'm going to fill in this part with some dirt just to make sure everything is level, because I don't want any random holes anywhere that would kind of look a little bit ugly. And maybe make this wall 1 lower because the path will go lower as well. And I'm not sure what I want to put on the sides because I don't want it to just be open. I want to put some fences or walls on here. What if we did the basic fence gate design, something like this? I think honestly that would look good. Let me check it from over here. Looking at it from over here, I actually like that. It has some of the polished deep slate, which matches the outside of the buildings, and there's some spruce fences, which also matches the buildings, so everything still fits in the theme of the area, but it does stand out a little bit more because there's a cobblestone in front of it. And before I forget, I want to add the slabs up here, because I know I'm going to forget to do this. I know it's going to be last minute, and it's going to look weird, so make sure to add these things in. So I was looking through my chests, and I saw the redstone lamps and redstone blocks I didn't use for the storage room that's over there, and I think they would look perfect in the wall because glow lichen's great for like some atmosphere lighting, but it doesn't actually light up anything. So I think putting some of these redstone lamps in the wall would actually be great. And I'm also thinking I'm going to push this down a block because I think we'll make this area just a little bit more open. And I also need somewhere flat to put everything I want to build in this area. And in the dark, I think that actually looks good. And I'm not sure if I'm going to fill in this pool of water just yet. I might have an idea for this, but also I might need some more space. But I'm going to go to sleep for now and then focus on building some of the interior for these buildings. Because for my pathway, I'm going to need gravel because I want to use coarse dirt, but my shovel has Fortune 3 on it, which means I don't get any gravel. So I'm going to do that later on. First things first, I think we need some doors in these buildings. And I think the first building we'll start with is the weapon and toolsmith building. I think the weaponsmiths will be on the left side and the toolsmiths will be on the right side. And the first thing I want to build in this corner is a desk because I imagine the villager is going to be stuck behind here and I'm just going to be able to trade with them whenever I want to. So something like this will keep the villager in, and maybe we could add a roof on top, something just like that. I also want to add some lights in here because right now it's just torches, so I'm thinking maybe a chain defense to the lantern if I brought lanterns, which I didn't. Okay, I gotta go get lanterns. All right, there we go. We could also add another one over here. This buddy's also gonna need one inside, so you can put one right on the desk. Also gonna put some chiseled bookshelves in the corner because these guys are gonna sell things that have enchant. So obviously I'm going to spot for whatever enchanted books this guy's gonna put on the weapons, and the same thing is gonna be for the toolsmiths on this side. I'm thinking in this spot right here would be a great place to add some shelves. Maybe just some trap doors across could work. We can put something on top. I'll have to actually lower these one block. Then maybe we could store some chunks of iron they would use, and maybe a couple iron ore in the corner. Then maybe a lantern just in a little space there, and I also put a tiny table underneath. I can also put some item frames on the wall, maybe right here and right here, and I would have to make some iron tools, but just for now I'll put 2 pieces of iron there just to signify where tools are going to go, and also put one on this table back here. Actually, I'm going to move the item frames from here onto a table, and this area is already looking a little bit cluttered because it is a pretty small corner. You can just walk through here, you got things the guy would use, and then the villager will be put in here, and I'm going to change this out for a trapdoor so that I can actually get in if I need to. I also think maybe a chest up here would actually be good because he needs a place to store stuff as well. And now for the toolsmith side. I'm gonna go with some tables higher up and a chest on top, and then go with the same lantern design. This table will go onto this corner. Also put another light on this side, and I built another table with a chest and lantern, and then an item frame where some tools would go. I also can't forget about a light back here. That is the first building detail, at least for the lower floor. Now moving on to the second house where the armor is supposed to be. I'm thinking this whole back area is going to be the desk, so we're going to cut it off right about here. Of course the armor is going to want to display all of the armor that he's made, so we're going to add some armor stands around, just sort of act as a display area for people walking in and wanting to go buy something. They have all the different options. And then back here is going to be a shelf, and on the wall there will be armor. We got a helmet and some iron boots, and each of the armor stands will display a piece of armor to buy. So we got a helmet in this corner, we got a chest plate, pants, and boots. I also put some chests above where he sits because I imagine he'll be going out here, maybe going to the top and grabbing some extra things. And in this corner, instead of having an armor stand, I'll add a few pieces of coal, maybe some iron, and some copper to act as like sort of things he builds the armor out of. Even though there's no coal or copper armor, I like to imagine that maybe there's specks of different ores inside the armor. And we'll put a lantern on top of the iron ore, and just to make it look like everything's kind of contained in a box, we'll put some trapdoors along the outside. And this room here is just going to be a staircase or a ladder going up, so I'm not going to detail that. I'm actually going to move all of the armor stands right next to one another and sort of have armor go down the line, and I think that honestly looks a lot better. And you know what, the one last armor stand, we're going to put it in this corner as sort of like an extra armor stand that he has laying around. And then we could add some more ores in the corner, and there we go. The bottom floor of the armorer's building is complete. We also got another wandering trader. What are you selling? Blue dye, coral, kelp. I mean, coral is interesting, but I don't have any emeralds, so yeah, you're gonna die for like the 3rd time in this video. And your llamas are also dying. And now moving on to the room for the mason villager, and I think to start off, we're gonna add just some shelves in this room. We can put a lantern in one of these corners and maybe something else on top. And then you go into the main room, and there is going to be a machine that the guy uses to maybe press things down, or sort of like a conveyor belt. I don't know where I saw this design originally, but I really loved the look of it, where it kind of looks like you have something going around in circles. So the guy will sit back here, and you can imagine him just like cutting a bunch of things up. I was also thinking of adding some fences and then lanterns underneath it. And I think that would be really great to light up this wall. So I have to get a lantern for this one. This area over here is where the stairs are going to be, so this ladder will be removed. But overall, this is the Mason's building. Now on to the second last thing, which is this cave. And the cave is not going to be anything special. It's just going to be 2 anvils, some places for hanging lanterns. I also want to add an area where lava would sit, because I imagine, you know, they're trying to create different things in here. So obviously they would need lava to do so. I'd also like to add a similar thing, but with water. We got an area for both lava and water that the blacksmith or toolsmiths or armor smiths or whatever smiths would be able to use. Also put some shelves in the corner with a crafting table, and we could also add some ores sprinkled about that they use to maybe craft some tools. And that is the cave finished. And the last thing is to make this courtyard, and I've decided that this area is going to go because I don't think the water here is going to be necessary, and I think it'll just get in the way. I'm going to also extend this edge out a little bit just to give myself a little bit more room. I completely forgot that there's a taiga over here which I can use to go and get myself some coarse dirt, and it seems that I have left a ton of floating pieces of wood over here, so that is very annoying, so I have to get rid of that. I don't know how I tend to leave a piece of floating wood, but I seem to have done that multiple times. Anyways, I'm just gonna go grab a ton of this stuff because I'm going to need it for my pack and for the courtyard that I am building. I'm gonna fill in some of the spaces with coarse dirt. I also added some tuff just for some variety. Not every single space is going to have some coarse dirt in it. It's just gonna be around the tuff to sort of make it look like many people have been walking in this area and it's sort of getting worn down. All right, we can leave it off with something like this. So for the carriage, I'm thinking of doing a simple design that I've used before for carriages. There's some signs on the sides and back, and then we have some oak trap doors that kind of look like wheels, and on the outside there's a bunch of spruce trap doors, and then I can put whatever I want in it. This case is going to be 2 coal and some iron, and I'll maybe put some barrels and other things around that these guys would use. And I want to imagine that maybe boats come down the river and drop things off here, and then this is where they collect it all, and then they move it up into their houses or to the cave to be smelted down. I just realized I did all of this and I didn't press record. That is very unfortunate, but let me give you a rundown of what I did. So I wanted to make this area look like it was sort of like a market, like a big meeting place for all the blacksmiths and armor smiths and everybody. We also have a wandering trader. What are you selling? Mangrove propagule. That actually is a useful thing, but I don't have any emeralds. So I want your llamas because I want to add them as decoration. So I know you're selling something that I kind of want, but you're gonna have to die. And llamas, you're gonna be over here if you don't mind. I know these guys are kind of mad at me, which is unfortunate. I do want to add a water trough over here, but I ran out of spruce wood, which I need to go and get. And can you stop hitting me? Okay, I'm just gonna go run to the taiga and grab some more spruce wood real quick, and hopefully the llamas will not be angry at me and those guys will be gone. And I'll have just under 2 stacks. I think this will be plenty enough spruce logs. So I'm gonna head back home now. I'm so close to finishing this build. This has taken me very many days, like basically over 30 days to get this completed. And I can finally add what I wanted to add because I got the wood now. So that's something like this and some water in it. I gotta grab more water though because I need an infinite water source in there or else it's gonna drive me crazy. Also gonna put some more barrels in the corners and maybe some chests as well. And overall, I think this area is done. I really like the look of this. And now it's for this pathway, which is just going to be a bunch of coarse dirt. I'll also get rid of these bottom pillars because they're going to be kind of useless and stick out, and just continue this all the way across, all the way around there. As you can see, everything is now filled in, and I also have these pillars here because I want to add some hanging lanterns off of these and kind of put them all around, even back here, because you can see it's very dark. So these poles are going to be the same as the one down there. I'm going to put one of these every couple of blocks, and here is the last one. There we go. And this corner, I just want to add a couple ores just because I feel like this area was a little bit barren and it needs something. Maybe I could add some leaves in here as well, and I can maybe hide a shroom light behind one of the leaves to give a little bit more light off. And there we go. This corner is now complete, and not just the corner, the entire area is finally complete. This took me a very long time to do, but overall I do like the way everything turned out. There's a few other things I need to do, like adding the villagers in, but that'll be a whole separate episode. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye and have a great day.